Welcome to Remedy and Rhyme, where the voices of poetry and plants entwine, offering nourishment for the spirit and a gentle return to the heart of nature. I'm your host, Kimberly Kling of Joyful Roots, clinical and community herbalist. I'm so glad you've joined me here to share in the stories, reflections, and simple ways these green allies can nurture our everyday lives. This podcast is for educational and inspirational purposes only. I'm not a medical doctor or a licensed health professional, and nothing shared here is intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. The information provided has not been evaluated by the FDA. Herbs are powerful allies, but not without personality. If you experience an allergic reaction or discomfort from any herb mentioned, please stop using it. Also, if you're taking medications, check with your doctor about potential herb-drug interactions. Most importantly, you and you alone are the steward of your own body. What you choose to consume, apply, or integrate is entirely up to you. This is about health empowerment, listen with curiosity, and always honor your own body's wisdom. These episodes are dropped the first Wednesday of every month, and to go along with this podcast, I have a Patreon community where you can join me to explore these plants deeper. Find that at patreon.com/joyfulroots. Hello, thanks for being here on another episode of Remedy and Rhyme. I'm thrilled that you're joining me for another month and a whole new year. I don't know about you, but I am pretty glad that a whole new year with new possibilities has finally made it our way. So this month, it felt ripe to bring a new type of energy to this podcast with my dear friend, Calendula, who is a bright, shining being that brings light in the darkness, and it seems perfectly fitting for winter and for what many of us feel like we've gone through in 2025. So, as is custom for this podcast, I would like to start this episode with a poem. This is a poem that I wrote called Singing the Dawn. Miles and miles of underground caverns, stockpiling gold that would feed the world, and we're banging pots for anyone to hear us, as hollow hearts worship silken robes. False idols feast as we overturn tables, we march in the streets, munitions and pearls. The doves keep bleeding, the butchers stay service to those who take pleasure in the pain of the world. Come steady yourself in the pools of my heart song. I'm holding your hand as we rise through the fear. Come into the cavern of my earthly being. Wipe your eyes now, my dear, and your memory too. Let the ocean remember what they tried to erase. Your name is still written in each holy place. But I see you, I feel you through fire and stone. We carry the aching, but never alone. So come now, my friends, let our heartstrings ignite. We're singing the dawn through the light of the night. It's the dead of winter here in the northern hemisphere, and the holiday season of festivities has just passed. Yet it's January, and the days are still a little heavy and cold and quiet. And even though the light is technically returning minute by minute, we don't quite feel it yet. The mornings are slow to brighten, and the evenings fall into shadow, probably before we're ready. We are craving the sun. We yearn for warmth. And at the same time, something in us knows that this darkness, this deep, reflective season, is a necessary contrast that makes the light ever more meaningful. Life on this planet has always been a relationship between those two forces, the light and the dark that roots us and the light that keeps calling us forward. I like to think of Calendula as being kind of right in the middle of that dance between light and dark. Calendula is oddly still blooming in my garden as I record this in mid-December. I don't know how much longer it will be there, but for now, its bright orange flowers are still making a radiant appearance in the dead of winter. Calendula is one of those beings that understands light in a way that I think few others do. This small sun wheel of a flower doesn't just bloom, but it kind of tracks the sun, turning its face towards wherever warmth is available. And this is a really cool phenomenon called heliotropism, where the flower or plant tracks the sun. It also opens and closes in response to sunlight. Calendula is actually often called the herb of the sun. It gathers brightness the way some of us like to gather memories or stories or small moments of hope. And it stores sunlight inside itself for cloudier days, at least theoretically, like a being that knows winter is coming and chooses to prepare by becoming a vessel of warmth. There's something that is sort of deeply human about that, because calendula can remind us that we can also be vessels of light even when the world feels really dim. And for so many of us, 2025 felt that way. We can gather moments of beauty and kindness and store them inside. We all have that ability. We can all carry those nuggets of beauty and kindness into places where warmth is needed most. It takes courage, and calendula is actually a plant that reminds us of the inner courage we own that helps us to shine in the dark. In the way that calendula tracks the sun, it's also teaching us that being a light in the dark isn't so much about shining with intensity as it is about orientation. That might look like choosing again and again to turn toward what nourishes us, even when the shadows stretch long. And it does this while remaining completely ordinary in the best possible way. Calendula grows in poor soils. It thrives in harsh places. It blooms when other plants have long given up. There's a sort of spiritual lesson in that resilience, one that might mean light doesn't have to come from the most ideal conditions. Sometimes it's the hardy, scrappy beings, plant or human, who end up carrying the brightest glow. Calendula asks us, where can you look toward the sun today? Where can you find warmth, even in a small spark, and let it move through you? This plant has always been connected to the heart energy too. Not really in a clinical way, but in the way that it reminds us that courage, from the Latin word cor, meaning heart, is a warm and steady glowing. Calendula's gift is that strengthening warmth that lives at the center of the chest when we remember who we are, when we speak from truth, when we offer our presence in a way that uplifts rather than drains. It's that sacral chakra that grows and glows. Calendula's flower essence teaches a similar message. Calendula helps us to soften into communication that illuminates instead of wounds, words that warm each other up instead of scorching or burning. It teaches a kind of solar honesty, a bright, clear, and generous speech. Sort of like the person that you can count on to give you the most truthful answer, but they do it in the kindest way. We can also look at the timing of calendula's blooms. It flowers through many months of the year, holding this golden glow as the days shorten. It becomes a companion plant for the season where we start to go inward and the time where darkness starts to stretch, and we look for reminders that the light hasn't completely left, only changed shape. Spiritually, calendula helps us balance the inner and outer, dark and light. It says that both of these aspects are sacred, and both are part of the turning of the year and the turning of a human life. Its warmth doesn't banish the dark. It helps us walk through it with a more steady presence. Calendula is a lantern, A reminder that light doesn't have to be loud and bright. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's soft. Sometimes it's simply the choice to stay open-hearted in a challenging moment. Sometimes it's as gentle as a golden flower tracking the sun. In these darker months of the year, whether it's an external darkness or an internal darkness, Calendula can be there to walk beside us and whisper to us, gather up what warms you, carry it with you, and wherever you go, offer some of that warmth back into the world. It seems like if we could all try to do that a little bit more and be a little bit more like Calendula, our existence here on this planet might be a little bit easier at times. Across many cultures, there are mythological figures who don't defeat the dark, but walk within it carrying light. These are figures like Persephone, Brigid, Hecate, Amaterasu, and they remind us that illumination isn't always this blazing solar fire. Sometimes it's stored, tended, protected. Calendula feels like it belongs within that lineage as a humble sun keeper glowing quietly along through the night. I'd like to linger for a moment with the story of Brigid, the Celtic goddess of the hearth, flame, poetry, wells, and quiet restoration. Brigid's light is not the blazing sun of midsummer. It is contained in the flame, the fire that lives in the hearth when the land is still frozen, when fields lie fallow, when survival depends on tending what little warmth we have. Her festival, Imbolc, arrives in the heart of winter, right around February 1st. So keep this in mind as it's coming up soon if you're listening to this in January when this podcast is coming out. During this time, the days are just beginning to lengthen, but the cold still has a really strong hold, at least in the northern hemisphere. This is the season of fragile hope, the season of promise without the proof that the light and the sun are going to come back again as strong as they were last summer. Brigid teaches that light doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. It more so has to be kept. In many traditions, Brigid's flame was tended by women, never allowed to go out. It was a fire of continuity, passed from day to day, generation to generation. Not a big fancy conquering type of fire. It was more like a sustaining one that our ancestors knew well and had deep relationship with. A fire that cooks food, warms bodies, sparks creativity, and holds the center of the home together. This is relational, it's deep within us, and it's a part of our very being and our survival. Calendula feels like a plant expression of that same type of wisdom. Like Brigid's hearth fire, Calendula doesn't really demand attention. It sort of instead offers a steady warmth. It gathers sunlight when it's available and holds it quietly, storing brightness in its golden petals for a time when the world feels dim. It teaches us how to tend to our inner hearth, how to conserve energy, how to nourish the heart and keep something glowing even when external conditions are harsh. In the depth of winter, Brigid reminds us to ask different questions. Not how do I push through this darkness, but more what needs tending to? What small flame needs protection right now inside me and maybe inside the world as well? Calendula aligns with that invitation also because it's not really a plant of force. It's more like a gentle persistence, and it shows up again and again with its resilience, choosing to offer warmth and care and softness. Both Brigid and Calendula have a similar teaching. You don't have to fully banish the dark. You just have to keep the flame alive inside you. We We've talked so much about the symbolic relationship that calendula has, but there's also very tangible physical ways that calendula can support us, especially when the body feels stagnant, inflamed, or in need of gentle movement and renewal. Calendula has a special affinity for the skin and the lymphatic system. These are two pathways that help the body interface with the outside world and move along what no longer serves us. When applied topically, calendula-infused oil or salve is one of the first plants people reach for when the skin feels irritated, compromised, or maybe even overwhelmed. It's actually a staple in my home. It's one of the first plants I started working with on my own herbal journey, and a plant that I grow every year and create infused oils and salves from for my family and friends. I find it amazing for certain aches and pains too. It's really wonderful for skin irritations or even simple everyday skincare. Calendula is such a persistent and exuberant friend. Its resin-rich flower tops offer soothing protective qualities that can help to calm redness, support tissue repair, and encourage the skin's natural regenerative rhythms. There's something really remarkable about how quickly calendula can offer comfort when applied externally. Within minutes, it starts to warm and ease the area, and it kind of offers a reminder of how responsive the skin truly can be and how much information and nourishment it actually does absorb. My mom is not really an herbalist, but she has her favorite herbs, and if you tell her that you have a bit of an ache or pain bothering you, she'll offer you her calendula oil. Calendula is a beautiful ally not only for cuts, scrapes, and burns, but also for dry, itchy, or reactive skin conditions that need gentleness rather than aggression. It's an extremely gentle plant, actually, so much so that it's often used in baby skincare formulas, and at the same time, it can be pretty mighty in its actions. Calendula's relationship with the lymphatic system is another place where its sunny nature really shines through. Both internally and externally, calendula can encourage movement where things feel congested or stuck. The lymph system doesn't have its own pump, so it relies on movement, hydration, and supportive plants, like calendula, to keep things flowing. Calendula helps to kind of nudge that process along, supporting the body's natural cleansing and immune supportive pathways. This makes it especially helpful during times when we start to feel puffy or sluggish or kind of even weighed down physically, maybe seasonally. In these instances, working with calendula, either internally or externally, can both be helpful. Calendula petals can be used in tea blends too, or added to soups and stews. You can also use calendula infused oil as a body oil. This is one of my favorite ways to work with calendula, and you could even perhaps combine it with a warm bath or shower or a lymphatic massage. As I briefly mentioned, calendula has an affinity for the liver and gallbladder, which is mirrored in its bright yellow-orange color. And these organs are deeply connected to detoxification, hormonal balance, digestion, and calendula's support here can help the body feel more resilient and less burdened over time. When our digestive system is flowing well, so does our energy and our mood and our vitality. Calendula loves to bring light to the dark in stagnant places. There's also a long tradition of using calendula in support of the reproductive cycle too, especially when there's tension, stagnation, or discomfort. Its gentle, warming nature can encourage ease and movement, helping the body return to a more rhythmic and balanced state. Externally, calendula-infused oils, again, can be massaged over the lower abdomen or sacral area to invite warmth, relaxation, and movement into the reproductive space. This kind of topical use can be especially comforting during menstruation or times of hormonal transition. I think what I actually love most about calendula is that it works in quiet ways. It's not forcing the body. Of course, most herbs work this way, but it's one of those gentle ones that doesn't overwhelm. It kind of just simply offers warmth, protection, and gentle encouragement for your body to rebalance itself, reminding the body how to do what it already knows how to do. And in that way, Calendula is mirroring its spiritual teachings yet again. It's not blazing like the summer sun. It's glowing gently, offering warmth and softness and support. And over time, that steady presence, that friendship that it offers can make a really profound difference. I'd like to offer a little disclaimer at the end that Calendula is generally considered gentle and well tolerated by many people, but it's best avoided during pregnancy unless working with a qualified practitioner. And those that have known sensitivities to plants in the Asteraceae family may want to use caution and start slowly to see how you react. If you're navigating complex reproductive or hormonal concerns, it's always wise to seek individualized guidance before adding in new plant allies. So, as we wrap up our beautiful exploration of Calendula, I would like to leave you with a few questions to ponder, whether you think about them in your head or write them down on paper. Where in my life am I craving more light right now, and what kind of light is it? Is it warmth, clarity, rest, hope, or maybe connection? Where might I be trying to force brightness instead of allowing a gentler flame to sustain me? What does my inner hearth feel like in this season? Steady, dim, neglected, quietly glowing, or in need of tending? And lastly, if I imagine Calendula or Brigid sitting beside my hearth, what message or reassurance do they offer to me right now? I would love to hear more of your poems. So if you have a poem that you would like to submit for a future episode, I would love to take a listen and see if it's right for any of the upcoming herbs that we're going to be talking about. Although I love sharing my poetry with you, I really would love to make this a community collaborative effort. So don't be shy. Feel free to send some poetry in my way. And I'm going to keep a running list of plants that I'd like to talk about in the future. You can find that list on my website at joyfulroots.com/plantpoems. That's PLANTPOEMS. And I am so excited to keep sharing the wisdom of plants and poetry with all of you. If you enjoy this journey and would like to help support this podcast, whether energetically, financially, or just by sharing it with a friend, I would be so grateful. Your support helps to keep this space alive, allows me to continue exploring new herbs, crafting new episodes, and sharing inspiration with you. One of the easiest ways to support this podcast is to rate and review it in your favorite podcast app. You can also join our Remedy and Rhyme Patreon page, which is available at patreon.com/joyfulroots. You'll find all sorts of goodies there, including plant stories, recipes, and more. There's a free membership, but if you are able to help support the podcast, there are some great perks with the paid memberships. And also, I have a shop on Patreon where you can easily purchase educational material like a class or a zine and further your own herbal knowledge. Another way that you can support the podcast is by getting yourself some of the most amazing matcha on the planet. It's Posana matcha. It's certified, organic, third-party tested to ensure that it's free of heavy metals, pure, safe, and absolutely delicious. This is the matcha that I always turn to because I know it's the highest quality and I just love it so much. So I'm excited that I can offer everybody that listens to this podcast 15% off if you use the coupon code JOYFULROOTS at checkout. And that will give me a small affiliate commission, which helps me to continue creating this empowering herbal podcast just for you. You can find the link in the show notes or head to posana.net, that's POSANA.net, and use the coupon code JOYFULROOTS at checkout. Thank you to Ikun Baradine for their music Bedtime After a Coffee, which was in the intro and outro, and also to Lights by Sakura Girl, and Asher Fulero for Exploring the Crystal Caves, which was the music you heard in the middle of the podcast. And thank you so much to the plants, number one, the greatest of all herbal teachers, to all of the herbalists that I've learned from. There's just too many to name. And for all of my family and friends for supporting me on this podcast journey. And to all of my amazing patrons and customers and clients, this really wouldn't be possible without you. So thank you again.